Whatever stage you're at with your trading, it's important to stop and gain perspective before planning your next move. Take a break from the charts and join in the discussion with our hosts, Jason Graystone and Akil Stokes, as they share insights, opinions and expertise on all things trading. Grab a coffee, pull up a chair and join the Trader Coffee Break.
All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Trader Coffee Break. I'm Jason Graystone.
I'm Akil Stokes. Good to be back, man.
It is good to be back. It's been a minute, as they say. This is a live show, and although we try and maintain consistency, things do come up, and we don't pre-record these shows, so it really does have to, sit around what we're doing. And I know, Akil, you went on vacation, you went on a quick trip. How was that?
Yeah, it was good. Went down south for about a week. I think I came back and then you went on vacation afterwards, and
yeah,
daylight savings time ruined last week. And it's
daylight.
We deserve breaks every once in a while. So, it happens.
It does. Yeah, it does happen. But anyway, we planned this topic like a few weeks back. And we want to talk about post-market analysis. And it's something that, like all the topics on this show, it's stuff that isn't really spoken about. It's just things that come up that aren't really sexy to talk about, or, they don't, it's not kind of things that sell or anything like that, but they are really important topics because they're nuances that you're going to come up against that could hinder your trading or make you a better trader. It can make or break you, the kind of things we talk about in this show. So post-market analysis, what is it, Akil, first?
Well, post-market analysis, it's essentially your review system. And the interesting thing about trading and going into entrepreneurship in general, and this is, trading, as a trader, you are an entrepreneur, you are a small business owner in a sense. And the biggest difference between being a business owner, whether you're employing others or self-employed or something like that, is that you are your boss. And, there's a great amount of glory in that, right? There's no ceiling for how great you can be. There's no floor for how bad you can be. The good thing is you can do, and we say this all the time, going off of the vacation we just talked, right? Our goal is to be able to do whatever we want, whenever we want to, or do only the things that we want. And that sounds great when everyone talks about it, but it also comes with sacrifice. There are things that we may not like doing, but we have to do in order to achieve the lifestyle that we want. And like you mentioned, post-market analysis is the same. When you are your own boss, right? There's no one checking you. There's no one telling you what to do. There's no one critiquing your trading, your craft to make sure you're doing things right. So that is something that you have to do on your own. And if you don't, right, how do you know that your system, how do you know that your strategy is really clicking on all cylinders? How do you know that it's continuing to develop and produce the way you want it to produce? You as a trader, right? How do you continue to grow if you're never working on your craft? So it's not sexy, like you said, Jason. It's the work part of it, and it's the work part, the after hours work that no one likes to talk about. But it is crucial to your continued success as a trader and really becoming a consistently profitable trader in the first place.
Absolutely. And I think there's kind of two parts to it. There's obviously journaling and kind of reviewing your edge and refining your edge going forward using post-market analysis and kind of performance of your system. But there's also kind of discretion building, making sure that you're developing as a trader as well, and keeping your emotions neutral, because this is a massive thing that isn't really discussed when it comes to analysis. Pre-market analysis, and when you're doing your analysis on the charts, that's kind of what everyone kind of thinks about. They're analyzing ideas and opportunities and entries.
Looking for trades.
Yeah, looking for trades, looking for the best place to get in. And we won't even go, maybe that's a topic for another episode where people put all the emphasis in where to get in, but they don't put the same emphasis in where to get out. And maybe that's another topic.
Write that down, yeah.
Yeah. But that's how most people think about analysis. Now, what that is an expectation of what's going to happen in the day. We all know that psychology plays a huge part in trading. It's like 80-90% of the entire game. The technical analysis is such a small portion, and it's a drop in the ocean when you think about kind of the time it takes to learn technical analysis and build a strategy, as opposed to the psychology that you have to deal with on a daily basis for forever in your trading. It's a massive portion of it. So that's the expectation. Post-market analysis is to reset your emotions, because this is what causes this depression or, exhilarated feeling or whatever it might be when things don't play out or do play out as you thought. That can, if you don't reset your emotions around that somehow, that can have a detrimental effect to your trading. So I'll give you an example of what I mean. When you're doing post-market analysis, really your job is to look at what you did in the morning and what your expectations were, and then look at what did happen, and then ask yourself, was that realistic, my expectation, or did I miss something? Or did something happen in the past that I can now apply as to my discretion going forward whenever I see this kind of setup again? It could be a certain price level that you thought would be respected, but actual fact, when you look back in your post-market analysis, it's respected as support more than it's respected as resistance. And therefore, going forward, you might only pay attention to it when price is dropping to that level as opposed to rising to that level, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, Akil?
Yeah. And you know what's interesting? I remember, I'm not sure if it was, so many traders I've spoken to and read books about, I'm not sure if it was a Peter Brandt or someone, or it might have been Adam Grimes, actually. Either him or Peter Brandt, they talked about how they love to do their analysis on the weekend, right? Yep. Because the weekend, especially in Forex particularly, in weekend is really the only time where the markets are quote unquote closed, where us as retail traders, we can't act in the market. So it's the only time on the chart where you can actually look at the chart and not be kind of in that emotional state of like, hey, what if I find a trade? Like you literally can't do anything. So you're only focused on your analysis. And I always look at post-market analysis as being like that as well, where I'm really strict with my trading hours and what I trade and when I trade. So I can't just trade 24/7 for no reason. There are certain times where I can actively trade, and then my longer term trading, it's per signal. Sure. So the post-market analysis is not in my active trading day. So it's, during the active trading day, we're in this heightened state where we're analyzing, we're looking for opportunities. Me and you personally, we're talking to other traders and we're teaching, we're doing a million things at once. So we're always kind of like on the go. We're never relaxed. And when you do that, it's very easy, I should say, to make mistakes because you don't really have time to double and triple check the way you'd want to. Yeah. When you're doing that post-market analysis and you know that you're not actively trading, you're only reviewing, kind of all the other mess is put to the side and you're only focused on, okay, what was I looking at? What's the comparison between my pre and my post? Did I make any mistakes? Ooh, I missed this level of structure. Ooh, I didn't miss that. And it allows you to slow down and really double check what you're doing, what you didn't do, and really take notes, like you mentioned, on what you may want to do to the future or in the future. So I think having that opportunity to kind of get away from actively trading and fully focus just on like the educational side of things. It's so beneficial, but most traders don't do it, right? Most traders won't do it.
I know, and they talk themselves out of it. And really, look, there's two main benefits and objectives from post-market analysis. One is a review of the markets, and one is a review of yourself and how you perform. So the importance of both are, let's just say the markets, right? The reason that you get anxiety in your trading or depression when you've taken a losing streak or whatever it might be is because the reality of what happened didn't meet your expectation. So it's important to tie the two together and compare the two always. That's one thing. The way that you self-review using post-market analysis is ensuring that every trade from a kind of third-person perspective at the end of the day or at the weekend, as Akil said, when you're not emotionally attached to the trade, that you can objectively say, I traded my trade plan flawlessly. And that is to check that you're not taking excessive loss, you are not missing trades that you should be in, you're not in trades that you shouldn't be in, and you're not managing trades incorrectly. And if you can make sure that you did those 4 things from a third person perspective, that's your self-review, great. And you want to make sure that, you know, you trade flawlessly with regards to those 4 things. And then looking at the market, you just want to, what can I learn from this? What did I think would happen? What did happen? Where's the bridging piece that will allow me to neutralize my emotions and build discretion for next time and get better and better and better? So look, just saying this out loud, I mean, this is just off the cuff, but even that makes it so powerful. I don't know why anyone wouldn't do it. Like, this is, aside from what Akil said about it being your business numbers and like knowing how to get better in your business, I just don't know why anyone wouldn't do it. So why wouldn't people do it, Akil?
Lazy. It takes time. I mean, let's be honest. Like, why do most people don't do anything, right? It takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy, and they don't see the instant gratification. You know, going back to the point you said about building discretion, that's one of the things I love about post-market analysis. And something I do, and I know you do this as well, is I try to practice every week, where I just go to a random chart. It could be a stock, it could be a commodity, a Forex pair, a crypto, you name it. And I just go to a random drop in a random place and time and analyze. And when you do the post-market analysis, you start to notice little things, right? You know, maybe those, like you said, the discretion, that intuition that we develop as traders, you start to notice, like, man, whenever I see it hit that, it tends to do this. And you can't really put your thumb on it at first, but you kind of notice it. And then when you get in this consistent habit of doing that post-market analysis, you notice it again, and before you know it, you're like, can I assign a rule to it? And then you back test it, and maybe it fails, maybe it works, but maybe you have something that you can add to your trading. Maybe you start seeing certain levels in certain markets that are really powerful that you may have not noticed before. It does nothing but help your trading. But most people, again, it's not sexy. It's not the entry. It's not the exit. It's you know, if you think about like a professional athlete, it's everyone wants to play on game day, but no one wants to, you know, sacrifice the things that they're eating during the week, or sacrifice and go to the weight room and train and do all the different sprints out there on the field or the pitch. Like, no one likes all that stuff. They just want game day. But that's the stuff that allows them to get into the game. And with professional traders, I would say it's the stuff that's happening behind the scenes that is much more important than the stuff that you actually see in front of your face.
Yeah, I agree. Going over to the comments, Lewis says, tracking how you feel on an emotional standpoint before, during, and after every trade is very useful. I learned times of the day which I perform better and feel more in sync, etc. And that's a great point. Something that you can really, you know, that's really powerful to add to your post-market analysis or your journaling. And it's kind of the same thing, journaling and post-market analysis, whether you're in a trade or not in a trade. Post-market analysis is your performance for the day overall, and whether that's your emotional state or whether you're in a trade, out of a trade, how you're feeling about how excited you are to get into a trade or how fearful you are to stay out of a trade. That's all post-market analysis, and that's all going to do those 2 things: market discretion and self-review. And for anyone wondering, you know, how you can actually do that and measure it and make sure you're becoming better and better, is simply in your journal, have a column that is a scale of 0 to 10 or 1 to 10 of how fearful you were for taking a trade, or how excited you were to be in a trade, or the feeling of needing to be in the trade, and score those on 1 to 10. And you'll start to see a kind of heat map of when certain plays play out, how greedy you get and how fearful you'll get. And your goal should be to neutralize both of those and score a 5, you know, on everything, or a 0, or however you're scoring it. That's a great thing to do. Good point, Lewis. He says, I'm a big fan of Jared Tendler's work regarding this. I don't know Jared, but I'll check him out. I think that's a great point. So when it comes to post-market analysis, what would you suggest that people start doing if they're not doing anything at all, Akil?
I would start simple. If you're someone that's actively trading, put aside 15, 30 minutes. That time's going to vary, but the necessary amount of time to review those trades. And again, like Jason mentioned, review it from a technical aspect, review it from an emotional, psychological aspect. I'm a big fan. I see Tony in the chat over here. Screenshots, man. Tony screenshots all of his trades, right? Take a screenshot when you take the trade, review it in real time and go back and mark it up, take notes, man. Just start with doing something. Start with making a habit of adding that to your routine. Say, hey, either it's going to be, I guess you, depending on your trading day, you could do it right after, you could do it later in the day, but put aside some time where you're going to spend some time reviewing your trades, taking notes, and be consistent with it for a few months and see how you start reacting to it. I think it's going to help your trading, but give it time. Just don't do it one day and stop. You're not going to see any results from that. Give it a few months, right? Let it become a habit, and you'll really start to see some changes in how you can kind of connect with yourself. And when you can connect with yourself, again, that's the psychological battle in trading.
Yeah.
I think one of the biggest myths, Jason, is that professional traders, me and you, that we don't get emotional. The fact is we're both human beings, right? We do get emotional, right? It's impossible for the majority of human beings to not become emotional. The difference is we understand our emotions and therefore we're allowed to control them to the fact that we just don't react off of them.
Yeah.
Because we've had plenty of trades where like, oh man, I want to be in that right now. I'd love to be in that. You get excited about getting in, but because of that, because of experience as well, we're able to control those emotions and make sure we don't react off because we kind of know how we're going to feel. And you can even build in things to it where if you know you have a certain setup where you get highly emotional, take the setup, then go run away for a little bit. So you don't put yourself in that position. It
is hard. Having counter forfeits and things like that, that can help. And I know it's hard because you're just on your own and you can always cheat a forfeit or whatever, but just having those things, I mean, it really is difficult. I guess the final thing to kind of say is Akil mentioned intuition and we've spoken about discretion a lot here. I guess one of the most important things to mention here is don't confuse discretion and intuition with having a trade plan and refining your edge via post-market analysis and journaling. Discretion and intuition comes second, always. You don't build a plan just off of discretion, because if you're not if I get a lot of these traders say, I just feel like I know what the market's going to do and I don't really track anything and all that. If you're not tracking anything and your system's different every day, one, you're not going to be able to journal anything. And if you do, it doesn't make any, it's meaningless because tomorrow you'll be journaling something else. Yeah. Tomorrow you'll be journaling something else. There's no comparison. There's no consistency. So having a trade plan comes first. Trading that plan flawlessly comes second. And then post-market analysis will help you refine your edge and build discretion. And as Akil says, force intuition, or accelerate intuition is probably the better word. And that then makes you a well-rounded professional trader. And so whenever you see these people that kind of look like they're trading off intuition, it's not because that's what they did first. They've got a system, trust me. As we've mentioned before, the edge that we have got is tiny. Otherwise, everyone would be making loads of money in trading markets. They're not. So we have to take that edge and we have to build on it and build on it and build on it. So don't believe anyone that tells you that they just know what the market's going to do and they're just out there making it up and getting lucky. That doesn't happen. I think that's fair, Akil, isn't it? I've been on a bit of a tangent there.
No, 100%. It's earned. It is. Again, that post-market analysis and stuff like that, it's the stuff that's going to take you to the next level. Yeah. So if you've heard about Mark Douglas, if you read Trading the Zone, he has the 3 tiers of traders where it's the failing traders at the bottom, which is 40%, and you get your 40 to 50% in the middle, your boomer busters. That's where most traders are stuck, right? The ones at the bottom, they're just to get rich quicker. They're gonna fail at anything they do right away because they're not putting in any work. But most traders are stuck in that middle category where they're boomer busters, where it's you're doing enough to be good, but maybe not consistently good, or maybe not good enough to make a real like lifestyle change. Yeah. So the question is, what are you going to do to take yourself to the next level? What's going to separate you from the average trader and push you up into that 10% that's successful? And stuff like post-market analysis, where you're reviewing yourself, where you're continuing to grow, develop, and build. That's one of the things that's going to take you to that next level. Yeah. And that should be, the goal of every trader. Oops, sorry about that.
Definitely. Let's just before we wrap up, let's go to the chat. Bobby says, great points. I find it amazing how these things can translate and be useful in other areas of life and vice versa. Absolutely. Tony says it doesn't take long, 5 minutes to screenshot a trade. So that's what you have to think about as well. When you're thinking about doing this, in real time, you're not going to have tons and tons of trades to do. It's not really going to take you that long. You know, in reality, you might have 1 trade, 2 trades, maybe 3 trades in a day. You know, it's not going to take that long to screenshot, write a little story about it, score yourself on each trade, how you performed, and that's it. It's job done. It's not going to take much more than that. You really have got no excuse not to do it. And Lewis says, it's like professional athlete changing between tennis, badminton, and ping pong. Absolutely. You know, if you tried to do every martial art, it would take you years to be a black belt in every one. Whereas if you just did karate or whatever, you know, one, you'd get a black belt, 4 years, probably, and it's done. So great points. And I appreciate you guys joining in on the chat. Hopefully you found this valuable. Let us know in the comments if you can add to this. We've had some great suggestions. What would you add? You know, what's your take on post-market analysis and the importance of it? What are some of the benefits or hidden benefits that you've got from post-market analysis in terms of self-review, market review? Maybe there's some benefit that you got that you didn't even know you was going to get before you started doing it. Or what recommendations would you make to other traders who aren't doing it? I'd love to hear your comments. And I think that's about it, Akil. What do you think?
I think it's good. I think I've given all I've given. The throat is done.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on when you're not feeling 100%. But we needed to get this one on. Yes. And if you guys have got any other topics you want to hear us talk about during this coffee break, let us know. We hope you're enjoying the channel so far. Go and watch all the other videos if you haven't already. Like, subscribe, and notify bell thing so you don't miss any of these. And until next time, remember, less is more. Get away from the charts and get some perspective. Do your post-market analysis. And we'll see you next time. Take care.
Thanks for joining us for the Trader Coffee Break. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to never miss a live discussion. Follow our hosts on social media. And remember, do nothing to gain perspective on everything. See you next week.